Okay, this is a Parrot 9200 installation on a 2004.5 Volvo S40. And as you can see, the first thing I did was just lifted the cover off of the spare tire, set that aside. And now I'm unscrewing these two plastic screws at the back of the trunk. We're just going to remove this plastic piece. Now with these screws removed, there's a few clips under there. If you gently pry up on the plastic, you can pop those pieces off. You need to be careful. They can break, but if you're gentle, they should be okay. They're replaceable, but nobody wants to go and have to go to the Volvo dealership and replace those. These little snaps, you just squeeze them together and apply a little bit of pressure to the carpet, and that'll pop right out. So that's how the snap works, if it helps you to kind of see how it works beforehand. And there's several of those all the way around the inside of the trunk, and one that you have to lay the back seat down to get to. So now you can see the amp inside there. Now we're going to lay the back seat down and show you where that other snap is. And there's the snap right there. So once we pull this out, we can fold the whole carpet piece out of the way and just remove the whole thing from the trunk. Apologize for the bad video and my son's car being a mess. It's the first time I'm doing a YouTube video, but hopefully this will help you out, because I had to do a lot of research to figure out how to take all this apart. Alright, so now we're just going to take the amplifier off the side, lay it down on its front, and that'll give you easy access to the green and the gray cables on the back of there. We're just going to plug those right into the adapter we got from Just Car Kits. So there's the adapter, and you'll see the gray and the green piece. There's a male and a female that fit perfectly into the wires that you just unplugged from the amplifier, and then you have a gray and a green piece on the other end that go back into the amplifier. So now you can plug that directly into the Parrot and it's going to be powered in, or you can plug it into that 5-meter extension that you see down there, that big bundle of colored cords. If you plug it directly in to the amplifier without the 5-meter extension, you're going to see that the power works, and that's kind of what we want to test beforehand. And I'm just using the remote control here to see that it's actually functioning. Okay, so now I'm just going to finish removing some of this molding so we can route that 5-meter cable to the front of the car. That's where we're going to mount the blue Parrot box. This is just the side of the back seat, so you can see how those clips look. Pretty much just pull out and up and it comes off. Now we're going to pull the molding off the floor at the rear door entrance. And now you can see the cables that run from the back of the car to the front. I think these actually might go to the airbag up near the front seat belt. So be careful with those wires, but it should be pretty easy to avoid those. And we're going to do the same thing on the front door. Pop this molding off. And now this is next to the driver's seat, in between the front door and the back door. There's one more panel we got to clip off. Here's kind of a good close-up of how those clips work. So if you get your screwdriver in there, you can just pop that right out. Putting these back in is actually a little bit harder not to damage them. I broke a couple of clips, and luckily the molding still went in securely, but you got to be careful with them. So here it is plugged into the 5-meter extension, and what I'm showing you here is that when it's plugged in the 5-meter extension, you won't have any power, at least the way the extension comes out of the box. And that's because there's a blue wire that's supposed to be plugged into your cigarette lighter for a 12-volt connection to the ignition. And the way it's connected right there, you don't have any 12-volt power. So what I'm going to do is take that off and just plug it into the empty other end of the blue wire. Now we've got a connection, and now we've got power. And I did not go ahead and plug that into the cigarette lighter, and it works fine. It turns off about a minute after I turn the ignition off, so I'm not sure if I'm missing something there, but it seems to work fine. So now I just came over through the trunk, around the back seat, and I'm tucking all the wire in under the carpet here. It's kind of hard to do one-handed, but there's plenty of room in there for this wire bundle. It's a little bit snug, but there's plenty of room. You shouldn't have any problem getting it under there, especially using two hands. And now we're looking at the front seat. So I routed it up around the front seat and under where that molding goes in the center, under the carpet. And we're just going to do that all the way up to the dash. And I went ahead and stuck the blue Parrot box under the dash on the left side, on the outboard side from the steering wheel. Here's a microphone. For now I'm just going to set it, kind of wedge it up there by the mirror, and I'll tape it on in a minute. And I just push the wire in under the liner there. If you push in pretty deep, it'll wedge in. And I pulled the rubber seal out of the door, and if you push that black wire in there and then push the rubber seal back in, you're good to go. You can make it completely invisible. Now this is how you get the floating dash off. First you're going to have to remove the cigarette lighter panel. Just take a small screwdriver and gently pry that up. Might be a little stiff at first. That just comes right off, and there's a cable or two back there. And then there's two T25 screws. If you don't have a T25 yet, you'll have to go buy one. I got a whole pack of them at AutoZone, all different sizes for $7. And I used a drill. You don't have to, but I think it makes it a little easier. Now once you get those two out, you're going to have to pry the molding off around the stereo display. And that's all that is there in the front, is a display unit. The stereo is actually back behind the display. And I didn't show it, but there's a little panel underneath the stereo behind the floating dash that I also removed. I'd have to open the glove box to pry that off. It's really easy, and that'll allow you to reach back behind the display and pop it out like you just saw there. And once that's popped out, it exposes two more T25 screws. Just back these out. The floating dash is now ready to come off. And there's just a few cables connected, two of them to the display unit and one to the air conditioner. And there's little clips. Might be a little bit tough at first. If you get a good look at it though, you'll see where you need to press, and those cables come off. And then I kind of skipped ahead here, I'm sorry, but basically I just routed the wire behind that floating dash, behind that panel we popped off, underneath the steering wheel, and it's all out of the way. And as you can see, you turn on the car and it works.
phone book.